When the kid wakes up, his world's still in pieces, just the way he left it. Ain't always much to say. The slingers, the wilds were their calling. The shards are getting harder to find. Not everything blew up in the calamity. Why, Colford Cauldron here blew up way ahead of its time. The cauldron boiled over some 300 years ago. They say it filled the skies with ash and the lakes with molten rock. If you wanted to survive something like that, you had to learn to adapt. Best to keep out of the cauldron. So in a way, the beasts of the wilds, they're all survivors too. It takes a certain stubborn pride to keep on living in a place like this. As for us, we learned an awful lot from Colford Cauldron. That learning led to some interesting inventions. The raw power of the world fell right into our hands. Playing with the cauldron's fires became an addiction. Can't fault our people for their natural curiosity now, can you? Sure, we dusted off a good many secrets out here. But we discovered other things we're better off not knowing. The unforgiving scent of sulfurous dirt. The taste of air so hot it sticks to your lungs. All sorts of awful things crawling underfoot. Never thought we'd find so much life in all that ash. Place as inhospitable as they come. But still we pressed on. After all, when we looked down inside Culford Cauldron, looked down through all the smoke and flames, we saw in there the heart of the world, the heart now laid bare by the calamity. We had to have it. As for the kid, he just has to get that shard out of there. Too bad taking that thing woke up every last stink eye from here to Johnson Bog. Kid's thinking he's got to trek all the way back around the cauldron. Luckily, the cauldron cooked up a little shortcut for him. Sure, it ain't the most convenient path. Biggest stink eye he's ever seen's waiting for him on the other side. Well, it ain't polite to stare. Where there's one stink eye, there's always more. The cauldron's tenants all gather up to bid the kid a fond farewell. The kid don't shed any tears for him, though. With a good spyglass, you can still see the cauldron from the city. But all the fires died out. There's nothing left of it. He comes back looking like the inside of a chimney. The shard works like a charm. You can hear the monument's heartbeat again. Just the occasion to crack open the distillery's private reserve. Fallen malt is filled with crunchy minerals that'll keep you safe out on them rocks. We're all a little short on friends these days, so that's a welcome sight. They said the wild could never be tamed. If only they could see us now. The culture, a still life of old unwanted keepsakes. We spotted a pecker carrying a shard to Mount Zan. You have to think fast to survive the wilds, and none thought faster than the slingers. They could shoot their pistols with the speed of a machine. They knew just when to start shooting and when to stop. Those pistols could spit out rounds just as quick as you could pull the trigger. Learning to hold your fire could be its own challenge. No matter how fast you are, you can always get faster. The slingers could plug you full of holes faster than you could say draw. The slingers like to edge each other out using customized pistols. Eventually, it all comes down to reflexes. I gotta say, kid's the fastest shot I ever seen. He blew through slinger range like it was nothing. Caelandia's army only took the best, and the best of them trained on Trigger Hill. The Triggers believed they were nothing without their rifles. Nothing beats the feel of shooting a Caelandian army carbine. Sometimes you had to take care to steady your shot. The Triggers had clearance to modify their guns however they chose. Some felt the course was too easy, so the Triggers spiced things up a bit. Kid blows through that course like it was nothing. The Caelandian army would have recruited him in a flash. That thing wasn't always meant to be a weapon, but there's no denying it now. The Triggers, my brothers, bravest men I ever knew. Welcome to Grady Incinerator, home of the hottest wings east of Caelandia. In all seriousness, the incinerator was a dump, and it had a problem with peckers. Blasted things would swoop in and spread trash all around, until we started using fire. We couldn't just torch them all at once. We had to use restraint. Keeping the incinerator clean was a paying job, but not a pleasant one. Know how we kept the city clean? We put all our trash in Grady Incinerator. Peckers that flocked together were easy pickings. You'd almost think those peckers like getting cooked. Can't rightly call Mount Zan a mountain anymore. There's no more mountains now. There's no place left for the beasts of the wild to go. Those beasts been hoarding all the valuables they could find. It's a delicate situation. Good thing for those beasts the Calamity saved leftovers. We only found their little lair because they found themselves a little shard. The creatures of the wild, they've been building a bastion of their own. But they ain't yet prepared for any company. Best thing we can do for those beasts right now is put them down quick and clean. There's only one kind of mercy left these days. Look at it this way, it's either them or us. But if we win, they win too. Our Bastion is everybody's game, not just ours. Unfortunately, there's no explaining that to a simple beast. Those beasts been hard at work fixing up the place. They've rounded up their survivors, just like we have. They've been searching for cores and shards, just like we have. Maybe they've thought about turning back, just like we have. We just really need their shard. Kid got it fair and square. The beasts of Mount Zan go all out. That's the way. He's done what's best for him, don't you worry. Don't Don't you worry. We'll all be better off once the Bastion is complete. The monument's getting better. Zolf sure did a number on it, though. We need an awful big lost and found under the circumstances. All it takes is some fragments, and the Bastion makes it good as new. Take my word for it. Don't ever drop one of those. A pinch of fairy dust, and it's all set. Ever see a kid with a musket and a fire bellows? Bit of a disturbing sight. Just a couple shards left. The quarry's gotta have one, right? Imagine everything you'd need to build a city like Caelondia. It takes hard work and planning, and it also takes a burstone quarry. The Ura tunnels beneath the quarry must have softened the blow from the calamity. We bought the whole place from the Ura on the cheap. Same goes for its natives, rattletails. Why would the Ura put up with those pests? Rattletails ain't the worst of it either, but more about that in a little bit. The quarry came with a lifetime supply of windbags. Windbags smaller than the naked eye can see are nesting in those rocks. Not only are these rocks a source of life, we found that the oldest ones remember things. They're recording everything, all the time, taking it all in. No wonder all those beasts were drawn to the quarry. The rocks were calling them. Keeping the quarry free from pests turned out to be a problem. Rattletails kept tunneling in to snack on windbags. Now, why would the Ura sell off such a fascinating place? The Ura always were a superstitious lot. Might be the gods told him the quarry's bad news. In any case, it's fair to say the quarry was a godsend. Those rocks, all polished to a mirror sheen. The largest ones, you know as cores. A single core could keep the lights on in an entire city district. The smaller ones, we call them shards. The shards got a fraction of a core's power, enough to fuel a voyage to the motherland. Well, now the quarry's all dried up. These rocks are much too young to be of use. Remember how I said Rattletails ain't the worst thing in the quarry? That honor goes to a beast we took to calling Sir Lunky. Massive things stomped many of our boys. We just couldn't get rid of him. stubborn old monkey to leave the quarry alone. Then the kid hears a voice calling from down the hall. "Are you all right?" it says. It's him. "I've come to warn you," he says. "The Bastion is under siege. Let it fall. You should not go back." Kid hears him, but he ain't about to be deterred. "If that's the way it is," he says, "then I won't stop you. Because my countrymen will." The next part's hard to talk about, no matter how many times I try. Say what you will about Zolf, but he's a man of his word.
Amiga.